Welcome to
I thought y'all knew.
I am your host, Tyrone Bridges. Let's get it.
Never saw it coming. Yet he 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 never saw it coming.
Living in the light of my life.
There it goes again.
Welcome to the show. I am Tyrone Bridges. I'm the host, Tyrone Bridges, and this is Superior Township candidate for trustee, Brenda Baker. Say hello, Brenda.
Hello, Tyrone.
All righty. Without further ado, talk to us about your campaign and tell us what have you done with your campaign.
Well, I've lived in Superior Township since 1987, so I've had quite a bit of experience with the evolution of the township, getting to know the township, and being very active in the township in the time that I've been there. In the government, I was on the Wetlands Board for about 8 years, and then I had to resign from the Wetlands Board because I wanted to be appointed to the Planning Commission. I wasn't allowed to do both at the same time. So on the government level, I have that kind of experience, in addition to volunteering for Neighborhood Watch, and currently chairing the ad hoc committee to promote Superior Township. But as far as my life ways, I live in Oak Brook subdivision, and so I'm in the South of Getty's Road section, and I am very active in land conservation. So I participate with Southeast Michigan Land Conservancy, and I'm the co-chair of the Superior Township chapter of Southeast Michigan Land Conservancy. And because of these various activities over the years, I've been able to interface with people and places all over the entire 36 square miles, maybe not every square mile, but mostly the 36 square miles. And because I live in the South End, I spend most of my time in the South End.
Okay. All righty. And talk to us about your campaign platform.
As I mentioned, I've been acting in government before because that interests me and it appeals to me, and it's a way to invest in my community that I love so much. I love living in Superior Township. I love the diversity, not only the racial diversity, but also the lifestyle diversity, the land use diversity, the there's McMansions and there's subsidized housing. Right. And all kinds of people. There's professionals and factory workers and healthcare workers and so forth, and just I love variety, and and we have succeeded in keeping a lot of the land open. So while I enjoy living in a subdivision, I don't want to take care of a farm or a acreage or anything. I can't do that. I'm single. I like to have a community. I like to have neighbors. I like to have people around me. Right. And by participating in the government, that's a way to meet people in the community and a way to support and improve and share the community with everyone. And I was planning on running for trustee in 28, but I've been attending township board meetings, pretty regularly anyway, but since the pandemic, I guess we should say, the functioning has become quite dysfunctional, and it has never been that way in all the time that I've lived here. It really got bad, and I don't know what's at the root of it. I mean, I guess the pandemic and being closed in and did different things to different people, but I don't know. And it mostly seems to be within the confines of Township Hall. I don't see that with my neighbors in Oak Brook.
Right.
I don't see that with the people I see when I walk my dog. All the rest of the neighbors are normal. But at Township, I go to Township board meeting, the people that work at Township Hall on a day-to-day basis are working out their differences in the public meeting.
Wow.
Human resource issues that should not take place in a public meeting. That's not where they belong. They should never get out of Township Hall.
Wow.
And there have been some other issues as well, like a little bit of mismanagement of funds. Nobody benefited from it. It was just boo-boos.
Wow. Wow.
And
That seems like- yeah.
and things are just not very neat and orderly in the way that they're taking place at Township Hall. And I just retired. I don't want to run for, let's say, clerk that works at Township Hall 40 hours a week. But being on the Board of Trustees, I can not only influence some of those decisions, but I can also be a conduit to the general citizens so that their interests are being addressed, because that's how the time in the township board meetings should be spent, is taking care of the interests of the citizens. And of course, there's certain reports we need to review and approving expenditures and talking about proposals and things like that should be done in the board meeting. But the good thing that has happened since the pandemic is we have gotten much more citizen participation in these meetings.
Right.
And I think the root of that seems to be, or part of that at least seems to be, because of the pandemic, there were the ARPA funds that became available, and there was a upswell of people, mostly on the south end, that wanted to be spent on a community center or something along those lines, something for a place that people can go without needing a lot of transportation, or that's ready, and maybe youth can go there too, and seniors can go there, and so on. And that's been talked about for years, but now we have the resources. And there were some, I guess you call them activists, that some of them came from outside the township. And somehow rallied up those people, because they started showing up in all the board meetings when they hadn't been there very much before.
Wow.
And it was great to see those people taking an interest in their township government, and people elsewhere in the township want community center too. I'm still pretty spry, but I'll be a senior one of these days, and I'll be able to walk to it. And so I'm very excited about the community center, and that was Voice of the People, which was so good to see. And I want to be one of the many people that will help to, now that people have sort of discovered their township government in some cases, to look for communication channels besides attending meetings. A lot of people don't like to attend meetings, don't maybe have the means to attend meetings, maybe they need childcare, what have you. And the township is working on getting them on Zoom, so that's good. But some of the things can't be accomplished in a meeting. For example, the speed humps that we're talking about on Stevens Drive that we've been talking about for years, but they're finally starting to get some traction. A lot of that work to get the approvals and so on, you can't do that in the board meeting. The board can make a motion, and in fact to approve funds and things like that. But to actually go through the interface with the road commission and the collecting of signatures of the people in the area that is required to do it, a lot of that takes place outside the township board meeting. And I would like to look for better channels of communication that we have. We have some. We have a Facebook page, and actually we have a couple of Facebook pages. The township has a Facebook page. The utility department has a Facebook page. And I don't know if Parks and Rec has their own Facebook page or not. I think they come on with the township. But not everybody uses Facebook. But with the social media, there's so many different channels that are used. Different people want to get their information different ways. And I think there's additional work needed in that area in the township to improve the communication, partly so that the people give people a voice, but also to help unify the township. We used to talk, north of Geddes, south of Geddes, and that's intentional. That's land use planning, because there's utilities south of Geddes, so it's suitable for high density development, housing, and like Hyundai, for example, other south of Geddes. But north of Geddes, the township over the decades has wanted to keep it open. And so that's why the master plan was a strategy. Started probably in the 70s. It was still, it was in place when I came in. And they've managed to, through good land use planning, maintain that north and the south. And I think that's to the benefit of everybody. Because we're not just one big 36 square mile subdivision.
Right.
And we're not just one big green space with no people. There's both of those circumstances can benefit everybody.
Right.
And it has worked well until recently. It used to be sort of complementary.
Mm-hmm.
That's one reason we were able to keep the north open, was because we couldn't, some lawyer wouldn't come in and say, well, there's all this market demand and you don't provide any housing for this kind of, you don't have apartments, or you don't have, this. And we do have zoning for that. We have a variety of zoning throughout the township, and we were able to justify keeping the north part open, relatively open. And so it used to be, each hand shook the other, it worked well.
Mm-hmm.
And now all of a sudden it's divisive. I've never seen it so divisive.
Wow.
And that really troubles me. And I want to be part of the solution, and I want to share the township that I love so much, and all the aspects of it that I love so much with everybody, because a lot of the people that live here are busy with their day-to-day lives. They're raising families, they're working, they might talk to their neighbor a little bit, but they don't know, for example, the boundaries of the township. I don't mean it should be like on a test,
Right.
but they don't realize that this is our community. It's a big community. It's a big, diverse community. And whatever you're looking for, unless it's a dense city, it's here somewhere. And it's here for you, residents. A lot of these things are open to the public.
Well, definitely. We'll talk about the library, the new library they have over there on Harris Road.
I'm sitting in it.
Oh, really?
I am. I'm in a conference room there. It's a little more tidy than my house. So
Okay, excellent, excellent. So it's fully open, and it's fully staffed.
oh yeah.
Okay.
It
All
had
right.
the grand opening about a year ago. I guess it was last summer.
Yeah, I seen that of the passing of the books.
Oh yeah. That was before the grand opening, because of course they had to have the books in here first. And
Yeah.
then they also had to, do parking lot paving and things like that. But
Yes, definitely. All right. So what about the Sycamore Meadows in the Danbury Green subdivision? How's things going over there currently?
my impression is that they're kind of holding steady.
Mm-hmm.
It's not as bad as it once was, but I think it could be better, and I think it's starting to get better. We did have a dedicated deputy that I think maybe spent, I think it was half-time there and half-time someplace else or something. But I mean, I believe that the management at the time was paying for an extra deputy to spend time over there, and just having somebody present there. The very few troublemakers, many of whom come from outside the township, are kind of self-manage when they see the police in the area. And meanwhile, the deputies can then interface with the people in the parking lot there, or the people coming and going, and do a lot of positive things,
Right.
to find out from the people there what they need. I don't personally know anyone there, I don't think, unless they come to board meetings. I probably see people at board meetings that live there. I walk there, I can walk there, but I wouldn't knock on a stranger's door. So and I'm not really the right age either to meet some of those people.
Okay.
But I don't think it's as bad as a lot of people think. But where I live, I live near the corner of MacArthur and Clark.
Mm,
I'm
okay.
in Oak Brook subdivision. From my backyard, I can go look across 3 yards and 3 other backyards, and there's MacArthur, and then I can see across MacArthur into Washington Square when there's no leaves on the trees.
Okay.
And I
Okay.
could look out the back of my backyard, and I can see across Clark Road to Ypsilanti Township, which is on the other side of Clark Road.
All right.
When there is trouble, and even fire, because there's a fire station up there too, any kind of emergency vehicles that are going up and down MacArthur or up and down Clark, I get a good view and sometimes sound of both of those. So I'm aware of the things that are going on, but that's an example of neighbors that I would like to know better.
Mm-hmm. You definitely got to get to know the neighbors better.
Maybe I'll do some door knocking in my campaign and I'll find out.
All righty. All right, definitely. So your previous board member was on our show before, and we were talking about the Cheney, the old Cheney school.
Mhm.
Is there anything that you guys got going on with the old Cheney?
Just from going to board meetings, I believe that they are trying to purchase it, and I'm not sure how that relates to the community center.
Hmm.
I don't have the detailed plans or knowledge about it.
Okay.
But yes, it's not going to sit vacant.
Okay. All right.
They're working with the school district, and I did hear that they were getting close to some kind of agreement with
Okay.
Willow, not Willow Run anymore, Ypsilanti Community
Okay.
to acquire it, and then I don't know if they're going to tear it down or use it, but anyway.
Right. All right. So basically tell us about your campaign. Tell us about your everything that we want that you want everybody to hear right now on this show.
Okay. Well, the things that I would like to accomplish
Okay.
is I want to improve two-way communication with all resident groups. And I want to reestablish Neighborhood Watch. That's a thorn in my side, because I participated in Neighborhood Watch almost the entire time that I've lived in the township.
Mm-hmm.
And when the pandemic came, of course, they couldn't meet for a while.
Right.
And then around that time, John Hudson, who had been our coordinator for quite a while, he stopped receiving information from the deputies and so forth. And without getting the information, he felt that he had nothing to disseminate to the participants in Neighborhood Watch. And so he finally decided, it was time to hang it up and turn it over to somebody else. And they finally found somebody else, and that hasn't worked out either. And when I ask about it at Township Hall, I don't think that there's a sense of wanting to do it. And I think they should either make a commitment and do it if that's what's wanted. Maybe Neighborhood Watch is out of date. Maybe that's not, if the neighbors don't want it, then let's make a decision. We're not going to do it. And is there something else that we're going to do to fill that void? Or maybe there's not a void, and the sheriff's department could probably have some insight into that as well.
Mm-hmm.
And but I'd like to either, one or the other, establish a good, solid working Neighborhood Watch, or make an alternate plan, but don't just leave somebody like me, who's supposed to be the Oak Brook representative for Neighborhood Watch, dangling in the wind. And I would like to have, and they're talking about this now, an on-site controller at Township Hall.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't necessarily have to be a full-time person, but they need to be present in the Township Hall. Currently, they have somebody who used to work in Township Hall, but he retired and moved to Florida, and he's doing it remotely. And mistakes are happening, and that's part of the reason that we don't have the oversight that we need to have.
Right.
And I think that should be not optional. And I noticed that it's on, is it the agenda for next time? Anyways, I saw it someplace. Oh, I think it came out in the, just today, there's like a listserv that you can sign up for on the township website.
Mhm.
And it comes off out at 3 o'clock every day. Sometimes nothing comes out because there's nothing to post. But if something is present, it comes out at 3 o'clock every day. And it just came out at 3 o'clock this afternoon that they are putting out a posting for a human resources director.
Okay,
It's much needed.
great.
How they got along without one for all these years, I don't know. We must have just gotten lucky that the people that we elected happen to be good human resource managers.
Mhm.
Because that can be, if not a full-time, a significant part-time job, and it can be full-time depending on how you split the work. But these kinds of things that we're allowed to just sort of, it needs to be tightened up as how we're organizing ourselves within Township Hall. And under that same thought, I think that they should develop and implement written procedures for basic functions. It's amazing things that they don't have a method for, what to do or how much to pay people. What do you do if somebody resigns? How do you issue a laptop computer and get it back when the person leaves?
Mm.
How do you inventory how many laptops do you have? And every year, 6 months, whatever your period is, double check and account for all of them again. Make sure nothing has wandered away.
Right.
And with the laptops, the problems that they have one or two that are gone, that can't be found anywhere, and that's money and security.
Yes. Yes, it is.
And I don't know whose fault it is. I don't know if there's a contractor who handles their computers but I don't know. I don't think that the contractor was ever asked to keep track of them. I think they're asked to support them. Like, hey, computer number 123 is having issues. Can you come and fix it?
Right.
But I don't know if they were ever asked to keep track of them.
Right.
We had a lot of difficulty this past year because of a very controversial proposed rezoning.
Mm-hmm.
And the zoning ordinance was, in my opinion, misapplied. But the fact that it could be misapplied is one reason that I think that it needs to be updated. It should be updated periodically anyway. They just now, at the last board meeting, they adopted the new master plan.
Mm-hmm.
And I was on the steering committee that helped put that together. The new I'm very interested in land use planning, and I think it's an important tool for the township, evolution of the township and making the township what it is. It's not everybody's cup of tea. Not
Right.
everybody is that interested in land use planning, but it needs to be done, and it needs to be kept up to date, and it needs to be managed and enforced properly. And the zoning ordinance is a companion document to the master plan. And
Okay.
I think it's very important to update the zoning ordinance. And I believe that there is a proposal in from our township planning consultant to do that work, like a quote, like a bid.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what's contained in it. I don't know if it's a good price, a bad price, what have you. It was just submitted, so that the township officials need to look at that and see if they want to bring it before the board, or if they want to send it back and say, try again.
Right.
Or, have somebody else quote it. Or they probably wouldn't have somebody else quote it because the planner is kind of like under retainer or contract or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But that's part of my platform, though, is to update the zoning ordinance, because it needs it.
All right.
And I think another thing that has come up and got a lot of bad press is because it was right at the end of 2023 and probably bleeding over into 2024 also. The township board took action to what amounted to giving themselves raises. And when it's time to give people raises, I mean, everybody's entitled to raises, especially when we have inflation and so forth. It's not that they shouldn't get a raise.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems so arbitrary and
Right.
random. Well, let's give ourselves a raise, and it makes them look really bad, even though they looked at other townships and found that they were lower. There should be an established formula, adjusted for inflation, so on and so forth, of how much these people get paid. So it's not even controversial.
Right.
And especially the people where their pay is a matter of public record. But I think it should probably apply to the other people that work at Township Hall. This job pays this pay rate. And maybe if you're in there for so many years, it increases or something. It shouldn't just be, well, that sounds like a good number.
Mm-hmm.
That's that was, and like I said, it got a lot of bad press.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it should have been, it should have gone before the board because it's an expenditure. And it should be a matter of public record for certain positions.
Mm-hmm.
But it shouldn't be very controversial. It shouldn't take up, the time of the people that are attending the meeting, and it shouldn't, everybody should be more or less happy about it.
Right.
And another thing, the last thing that I have on my little list here, you can probably tell I'm looking down, is I want to establish some kind of a system for citizen input other than attending board meetings. Because let's face it, most citizens are never going to attend a board meeting. We have, 13,000, 14,000 people? They're not all going to attend a board meeting.
Mm-mm.
And subtract out the children, and the others still too many people to go in a board. That's not realistic. So I'd like to establish some parallel sort of system for citizen input, and I'm thinking maybe it could somehow be done on a neighborhood basis. Like little neighborhood meetings, like kind of I won't say town hall, but just for the people in a local area.
Mm-hmm.
Like in my case, Oak Brook, or maybe if you want to have nearby neighborhoods together, maybe Oak Brook and Washington Square and Sycamore Meadows and Brookside, and just that grouping would do together down in their area. And then I'm pretty sure that Arbor Woods would like something like that, because they have specific needs there in Arbor Woods.
Mm-hmm.
With the mobile home community. And Bromley Park. And so then I think, well, how many neighborhoods are there? We're going to have all these meetings. So that's why you might want to group other neighborhoods together, and might just be a couple times a year if you have 20 neighborhoods.
Right.
And you wouldn't have to have, it could just be one representative, like say me, or say a different trustee, or maybe a couple. We can't have more than, I'd have to look it up. We can't have a quorum, so I guess we can't have more than 3 meeting together when it's not an official meeting.
Mm-hmm.
But just some kind of a round table talk about what's on your mind kind of thing, where people have an opportunity for input.
Right.
And for other people, the Facebook page is another alternative, and the Instagram. And we're trying to develop, but I think we need different channels for different folks.
Right.
And it's really hard. You can't just take the daily paper anymore. It's
Right.
very,
A lot of people use social media and the paper costs now.
yeah.
Yeah. So is that pretty much it that you have?
Well, that was my platform.
Okay. All right.
I guess I made like I'm using paper anyway.
All righty. So tell us how people can reach you and also support your campaign.
I can be reached at the same email address where you reached me, at bbaker4 FOR trustee I'm sorry, at Gmail,
Mhm.
at gmail.com.
Okay, all right,
bbaker4trustee@gmail.com.
all righty.
I hope to establish a website before the election, but it's pretty early yet. People can still file up until April 23rd.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. And this will be played on CTN and also put on Facebook and YouTube as well. And also my website at I thought you knew ipsy.com. And we'll be interviewing a few more of your trustee candidates, your board of trustee candidates as well in the near future. We have this platform is open for you. Talk to them, just let them know what's going on with you and how you're campaigning and appeal to the public.
oh, I'd like to learn more about that. Can I go on the website and find that out?
Yeah, actually you can. You can go on the website at I thought you knew ipsy.com. And this will be aired on it just like all the other interviews as well.
Okay, so if I, at some point in my campaign, if I wanted to make a video and with your permission, obviously post it on it, is that what you're saying?
Not necessarily, but we can talk offline. We can talk offline about that.
Okay.
All righty. So if you don't have anything else to tell the public, we can basically end the show. And welcome. Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for talking to us and I appreciate everything that you guys are doing over there in Superior Township.
Well, thank you very much for the opportunity to talk with you and the viewers. And I apologize for the technical difficulties at the beginning. I'm glad we were able to straighten them out.
That's all right. All right. This is the end of the show. I thank you for coming. Check us out on Facebook and YouTube and also CTN at Community Television Network, Public Access, Channel 17. All righty. Talk to you later. All right. Peace.